5 months after my husband's funeral, I got a call from a storage facility manager I'd never heard of. Her voice was professional but cautious. "Mrs. Henderson? I'm calling about Unit 247. Your husband, Robert Henderson, has been renting it for 25 years. I'm so sorry for your loss, but there's something you need to know." He left very specific instructions. If anything happened to him, I was to contact only you, no one else. And he said, "Don't let anyone convince you not to come alone." My hand trembled as I held the phone. 25 years. We'd been married for 38. Why would Robert keep a storage unit secret from me for that long? "I don't understand," I whispered. "What's in it?" "I don't know, ma'am. But there's an envelope attached to his contract with your name on it. He updated the instructions every year. The last time was 3 months before he passed. 3 months before the heart attack that took him from me in our kitchen. Mid-sentence, mid-laugh, mid-life. I couldn't breathe. The grief I'd been carefully managing suddenly felt like a tidal wave again. I was 63 years old, supposedly in the stage of life where everything made sense, where decades of marriage meant there were no surprises left. But here I was, discovering my husband of nearly 4 decades had kept something from me for most of our marriage. "When can I come?" I asked. "Any time, Mrs. Henderson. But there's one more thing," he specified. "Tell Margaret to come when she's ready to remember everything. Good and bad, when she's strong enough." That was so like Robert. Always protective, always thinking ahead. Even from beyond the grave, he was trying to take care of me. I told her I'd come the next morning. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in our bed, on my side, staring at the indent where Robert's head used to rest on his pillow. I'd finally washed the sheets last week. Our son Daniel had insisted, "Mom, it's been 5 months. You need to let go." But I hadn't wanted to let go. That pillow still smelled like Robert's shampoo, like the man I'd loved since I was 25 years old. Now I wondered if I'd ever really known him at all. The next morning, I told Daniel I was going to the grocery store. I don't know why I lied, maybe because of what the storage manager had said. "Don't let anyone convince you not to come alone." Maybe because Daniel had been pushing so hard lately for me to move forward. He wanted me to sell the house, move into a smaller place, maybe even a senior community. "It's too much for you, Mom. All these memories. You need a fresh start." But I didn't want a fresh start. I wanted my life back. The storage facility was on the east side of town, in an area I rarely visited. It was one of those sprawling complexes with rows and rows of identical orange doors. The manager, a woman in her 40s named Patricia, met me at the office. "Mrs. Henderson." She shook my hand gently. "I'm so sorry we're meeting under these circumstances. Your husband was a good man. He always paid on time, always very polite." "You knew him?" "He came by every month, like clockwork. Sometimes he'd stay for hours. I always wondered what was in there, but he was very private about it. Every month. For 25 years. How had I never noticed? But then again, Robert had been a creature of habit. He'd had his routines, his golf days, his trips to Home Depot that somehow always took 3 hours. I'd teased him about it. "What are you doing there? Count every nail?" Maybe he'd been coming here instead. Patricia handed me the envelope. My name was written on it in Robert's distinctive handwriting, all caps, slightly slanted. The envelope was thick. "Take your time," she said. "Unit 247 is in Building C, down the 3rd row. Here's the key. It's all paid up for the next 5 years." 5 years. He'd planned for this. Planned for being gone. My hands shook as I opened the envelope. There was a letter, 3 pages, handwritten, and something else. A smaller envelope labeled, "Open this last." I started reading. "My dearest Margaret, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm so sorry, my love. I'm sorry I'm not there to hold you, to help you through this. I know you're angry right now, confused, maybe even feeling betrayed. I understand all of that, but please, read everything before you judge me. Come to the unit, see what I've left for you, and then decide." 25 years ago, I was diagnosed with a genetic heart condition. The doctors said I had maybe 30 years, maybe less. They said I should tell my family, prepare everyone. But you were so happy then. Daniel had just started high school. We'd finally paid off the mortgage. You'd just gotten that promotion you'd worked so hard for. I looked at you, at our life, and I couldn't bear to darken it with this shadow. So I made a different choice. I decided that instead of spending whatever time I had left preparing to die, I would spend it preparing to live, and preparing to leave you with something. Something that would help you understand how much you meant to me, how much every single day with you mattered. I rented this storage unit. At first, I didn't know what I would put in it, but then I started writing, recording, saving. Every moment I wanted you to remember. Every moment I was afraid you'd forget. What's in this unit is my love for you, Margaret. Organized, documented, preserved. I know Daniel will want you to move on quickly. He's always been practical, like his mother. He'll think he's helping you, but don't let him rush you. Don't let anyone tell you how to grieve or how to remember. This is yours. All of it. No one else needs to see it or understand it. This is between you and me. I love you. I've loved you from the moment I saw you in that terrible coffee shop on 4th Street with your blue dress and your nervous smile. I've loved you through every fight, every challenge, every ordinary Tuesday morning. And I'll love you forever. Go to the unit. Start with box 1. There are instructions inside. Always yours. Robert. I couldn't see the last lines through my tears. I sat in my car outside the storage facility and sobbed. Not the quiet, dignified tears I'd been producing for 5 months. These were the ugly, gasping sobs of someone breaking apart and being put back together at the same time. He'd known for 25 years that his time was limited, and he'd never told me. He'd carried that burden alone so I could be happy, so we could be happy. I was furious with him, and I loved him more than ever. Building C. 3rd row. Unit 247. I stood in front of the orange door for a full minute before I could make myself turn the key. The lock clicked. I lifted the door. The unit was about 10 by 10 feet. The late morning sun streamed in behind me, illuminating what looked like a small, organized archive. Metal shelves lined 3 walls, boxes carefully labeled. A desk in the corner with a chair. A lamp. On the desk was another letter and a box labeled "Start Here." I stepped inside. The air was cool, slightly musty, but not unpleasant. Robert had been here, recently. I could almost feel his presence. The second letter was shorter. Margaret, welcome to my project. Our project, now, I suppose. I've organized everything by year, 25 boxes, one for each year since my diagnosis. Some years are fuller than others. Start with year 1 or don't. Start with last year. It's up to you. Each box contains a journal I kept that year, documenting our life, my thoughts, my fears, my joys, photos I took of you when you weren't looking. You're going to be annoyed about this. Small mementos from our adventures. Letters I wrote to you but never sent. My thoughts on that year of our marriage. Box 25 is special. That's the one I want you to open last. When you're ready, take your time. Come back as often as you need. This is your space now. All my love and rum. I pulled down box 1. The label read, Year 1 to 1999. The diagnosis. Inside was a leather journal, the kind Robert always preferred. I opened it. The 15th of January, 1999. The doctor told me today I have hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Genetic, progressive, 30 years if I'm lucky, maybe less. I came home and Margaret was making lasagna, Daniel's favorite. She was humming. She's always humming when she cooks. I watched her from the doorway and I thought, how do I tell her? How do I steal her peace? I decided, I don't. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Instead, I'm going to document everything. Every ordinary moment. Every extraordinary one. So that when I'm gone, she can come back here and remember. Not just the big moments, but the small ones, the real ones, the ones that actually made up our life together. Today's ordinary moment, she burned the garlic bread. She always burns the garlic bread. I love her garlic bread anyway. I laughed through my tears. I did always burn the garlic bread. Still do. I spent 4 hours in that storage unit, reading through year 1. Robert had written almost daily. Some entries were just a few lines. Others were pages long. He documented everything. The movies we watched, the arguments we had, the way I organized the spice cabinet. The time we got lost driving to Daniel's away game and ended up laughing so hard we had to pull over. There were photos I'd never seen. Me sleeping on the couch with a book on my chest. Me in the garden, dirt on my face, completely unaware he was watching. Me at Daniel's graduation, crying happy tears. There were movie ticket stubs, receipts from restaurants, a napkin from the diner where we'd had our first anniversary dinner, a leaf from the tree we'd planted in the backyard. He'd saved everything, not because it was important, but because I didn't realize how late it was until my phone rang. Daniel. Mom, where are you? I stopped by the house. Your car's gone. I hesitated. I'm running errands. For 6 hours? Daniel, I'm fine. I'm just taking my time. Mom, I'm worried about you. You've been distant lately. Are you eating? Are you sleeping? I'm okay, sweetheart, really. I just need some time. We need to talk about the house, Mom. I know you don't want to hear this, but you can't keep living in the past. Dad's gone. You need to move forward. There it was. Move forward. As if the past 38 years, the past 63 years of my life, were something to be abandoned like an old coat. I'll call you later, Daniel. I hung up before he could argue. I went back to the boxes. I pulled down year 5, year 10, year 20. Each one was a time capsule of our marriage. The year Daniel went to college, and we didn't know what to do with ourselves. The year we took that terrible road trip and the RV broke down. The year my mother died and Robert held me every night for 3 months. The year we renewed our vows on our 25th anniversary and danced in our backyard to the same song we'd danced to at our wedding. He documented all of it, the good, the bad, the mundane, the magical. In year 15, I found a letter he'd written but never sent. Dear Margaret, today I realized I'm halfway through, statistically speaking. If I get 30 years, I've used up 15. That should terrify me. But instead, I feel grateful. I've had 15 years with you since I found out I was dying. 15 years I didn't waste. I've been present for every moment. I've paid attention. I've loved you deliberately, not accidentally. Most people go through life half asleep. Not me. Not anymore. Every morning I wake up next to you is a gift I chose to unwrap fully. If I died tomorrow, I would die having been truly alive. That's what you've given me, Margaret. Not just life, but living. Thank you. I sat on the floor of that storage unit and I understood. Robert hadn't kept this from me to hurt me. He'd kept it to protect me. And in doing so, he'd lived more fully, more intentionally than most people do in twice the time. But I still had questions. Why not tell me at the end? Why let me find out like this? I reached for box 25. The last year. Inside was his final journal. I opened to the last entry, dated 3 days before he died. Margaret found a gray hair in my brush yesterday and made a joke about us both turning into silver foxes. She has no idea how much I cherish these small moments, the ordinary ones. I've decided not to tell her about my condition. Not now. Maybe not ever. The doctors say I could go anytime. Could be tomorrow. Could be 5 more years. But I don't want her to spend whatever time we have left watching me, waiting for me to collapse. I want her to live. To laugh. To burn the garlic bread. When I'm gone, she'll find this place. She'll read these journals. And she'll know. She'll know that every single day, I chose her. I chose us. I chose to be present instead of preparing to leave. I'm not afraid of dying, Margaret. I'm only afraid of you forgetting how much I loved living with you. So I'm leaving you this. All of it. 25 years of proof. Love is not just a feeling. It's documentation. It's showing up. It's paying attention. It's saving the movie tickets and the napkins and the moments no one else would think matter. You matter, Margaret. Every breath of you matters. Don't let Daniel convince you to move on too quickly. Don't let anyone tell you how long to grieve or how to remember. This is your story too. Our story. And you get to decide how it continues. I love you. Present tense. Always present tense. Or starring and Juan. I don't know how long I sat there. The sun had moved, and the unit was in shadow now. My phone had 3 more missed calls from Daniel, but I couldn't move. I couldn't stop reading. There was one more item in box 25. The small envelope from the very first letter. Open this last. Inside was a key. And a note. Safety deposit box at First National Bank, downtown branch. Box 891. Ask for Margaret Chen, the branch manager. I told her you'd be coming. She knows what to do. This is the last surprise, my love. I promise. Andrei. I drove to the bank in a daze. It was almost closing time, but Margaret Chen was waiting for me. She was younger than me, maybe 50, with kind eyes. Mrs. Henderson, I've been expecting you. Robert spoke about you often. I'm so sorry for your loss. You knew him? He's been coming here once a month for 10 years, always very punctual, always very private about the box. But he told me that one day you'd come, and when you did, I should tell you something. What? He said to tell you, the best investment I ever made was time with you. Everything else was just interest. She led me to the vault, opened box 891, and left me alone with it. Inside was not what I expected. No cash. No stocks. No jewelry. Instead, there was a thick folder labeled, For Daniel. I opened it. It was a letter to our son, in Robert's handwriting, and beneath it, documents, bank statements, investment records, a second life insurance policy I didn't know about. I started reading the letter. Daniel, if you're reading this, your mother has finally made it here. I'm glad. She needed time to understand everything before I could explain this part to you. Son, I know you. I know you love your mother. I know you think pushing her to move on, to start fresh, to let go of the house and the memories is helping her. But it's not. Your mother doesn't need less of the past. She needs time to process all of it. She needs to remember at her own pace. That's why I set this up. In this folder, you'll find financial documents that prove the house is paid off, the property taxes are covered for the next 20 years, and there's enough money that your mother will never have to worry. She doesn't need to downsize. She doesn't need to simplify. She's not a burden. I'm telling you this because I know you. You're practical. You're trying to fix things. But your mother isn't broken. She's grieving. And that's different. Let her grieve. Let her keep the house if she wants it. Let her take 5 years to go through my things if that's what she needs. Your job isn't to move her forward. Your job is to stand beside her while she finds her own way. I also want you to know, I knew about my condition for 25 years. I never told either of you because I didn't want you to spend our time together waiting for me to die. I wanted us to live. Don't be angry at me for keeping this secret, and don't be angry at your mother for however she chooses to process it. Death is not a problem to be solved, son. It's a transition to be honored. I love you. I'm proud of the man you've become. But you need to let your mother be the woman she's always been. Strong, capable, and allowed to be sad. With all my love, Dad. Beneath the letter was another note for me. Margaret, show Daniel this when you're ready. Or don't show him at all. It's your choice. But know this, you don't owe anyone your grief. You don't owe anyone your timeline. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you choose to remember me. The house is yours. Keep it. Sell it. Turn it into a shrine. Turn it into a dance studio. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you choose. You've spent 38 years considering me in every decision. Now I'm giving you permission to consider only yourself. What do you want, Margaret? Not what Daniel wants. Not what your friends think you should do. Not what society says is appropriate for a widow. What do you want? Go find out. I'll be here. In these journals. In these memories. In that house. Whenever you need me. All my love always. Robert. I drove home as the sun was setting. Daniel's car was in my driveway. He was sitting on the porch, looking worried. Mom, where have you been? I've been calling all day. I got out of my car, holding the folder. I walked up the steps and sat down beside him. I need to tell you something. And I need you to listen without trying to fix it. I told him everything. The storage unit. The journals. His father's diagnosis 25 years ago. The letters. The safety deposit box. I handed him the folder. He read in silence. When he finished, his eyes were wet. He knew? For 25 years? He knew. And he never told us because he wanted us to live, not to wait. Daniel put his head in his hands. I've been such an idiot, pushing you to move, to let go. I thought I was helping. You were trying to protect me. Just like your father did. Just like you always do. But he's right. You don't need protecting. You need time. I need you to understand something, Daniel. I'm not moving. Not now. Maybe not ever. This house is full of your father, and I'm not ready to leave him yet. Maybe I'll never be ready, and that's okay. I know, Mom. I'm sorry. And I need you to know that I'm not fragile. I'm not broken. I'm 63 years old. I've lived a full life. I've lost the love of that life. And I'm sad. I'm going to be sad for a long time. But sad doesn't mean incapable. I know. Do you? Because for 5 months, you've been treating me like I'm going to shatter. He was quiet for a long moment. I'm scared, Mom. Scared of losing you too. Scared of you being alone in this big house. Scared that you'll disappear into your grief and I won't know how to reach you. I took his hand. I'm not disappearing. I'm remembering. There's a difference. We sat on the porch as the stars came out. Eventually, Daniel spoke again. Can I read them? The journals? That's not for me to decide. Your father left them for me, but I think he'd want you to read some of them when I'm ready to share. When you're ready to see your father the way I saw him. I'd like that. But Daniel, you need to understand, this is going to take time. I have 25 years of journals to read, 25 years of memories to process. I'm going to be spending a lot of time at that storage unit. Then I'll drive you, when you want company. Or I'll stay away when you don't. Thank you. We sat in comfortable silence for a while longer. Then Daniel asked, what was in the small envelope, the one he said to open last? I smiled. Instructions for how to find the folder he left for you. Always thinking ahead. Always. That night, after Daniel left, I went to our bedroom. I took Robert's pillow from its place beside mine, and I held it close. I let myself cry. Really cry. Not the careful, controlled tears I'd been allowing myself, but the raw, ugly, necessary tears of someone who had lost everything and was somehow still standing. And then I did something I hadn't done in 5 months. I talked to him. You absolute bastard, I said to the empty room. 25 years, Robert. You carried that alone for 25 years. You should have told me. We could have faced it together. But even as I said it, I knew why he hadn't. Because I would have spent 25 years terrified, watching him, waiting, and he'd wanted me to live instead of to wait. I understand, I whispered. I don't like it, but I understand. I slept that night with his pillow still in my arms, and I dreamed of coffee shops and blue dresses and burned garlic bread. The next morning, I went back to the storage unit. I started with year 2, then year 3. I spent the entire day there, reading, crying, laughing, remembering. I found photos I'd never seen, love letters he'd written but never sent, receipts from every anniversary dinner, ticket stubs from every movie, a detailed account of the day Daniel was born, the day we bought our house, the day my father died and Robert held me in the hospital parking lot while I fell apart. He'd documented everything, not because he was morbid or obsessed, but because he understood something most people don't learn until it's too late, that life is in the details. That love is in the paying attention. That memory is not passive but active, requiring intention and effort. In year 18, I found an entry that made me stop. Margaret asked me today if I was happy. She said I seemed distant lately. The truth is, I've been thinking about time, how much I might have left, whether I've done enough, said enough, loved enough. But watching her in the kitchen tonight, arguing with Daniel about college applications, laughing at something on her phone, alive and present and completely herself, I realized I have done enough because I've been here. Fully here. For all of it. That's what love is, I think. Not grand gestures, but consistent presence, showing up, paying attention, being there for the small moments because the small moments are actually the big ones. I'm happy, Margaret. So happy I could burst with it. And when I'm gone, I want you to know that every single day with you was enough. More than enough. Everything. I took a photo of that page with my phone. I sent it to Daniel. He called 5 minutes later. Mom. Yeah? He really loved you. I know. I mean, He really loved you. Like, documentary evidence levels of love. I laughed. Yes, he did. I want that someday. What you two had. Then pay attention, Daniel. Don't wait for the big moments. Love is in the Tuesday mornings. The Tuesday mornings? You'll understand when you find it. Over the next 3 months, I made the storage unit my second home. I'd go there 3 or 4 times a week, sometimes for an hour, sometimes for the whole day. I read every journal. I looked at every photo. I held every memento and remembered. Patricia, the storage facility manager, started bringing me coffee. You know, she said one day, your husband was special. Most people who rent units here are storing junk they don't want to deal with. He was storing treasure. He was storing us, I said. He'd talk about you sometimes. When he'd check in, he'd say things like, Margaret would love this weather, or Margaret made the best pot roast last night. He talked about you the way most people talk about winning the lottery. I was lucky to have him. You both were lucky to have each other. That's rare, you know. Real partnership, real presence. Most people are just existing side by side. You two actually lived together. She was right. We had lived together. Fully. Intentionally. By month 4, I'd read everything. All 25 journals. Every letter. Every note. I'd seen every photo. Held every memento. Absorbed every documented moment of our life together. And I realized something. Robert hadn't created this archive so I would live in the past. He'd created it so I could carry the past with me into whatever came next. I called Daniel. I'm ready, I said. Ready for what? To figure out what comes next. He came over that evening. We sat at the kitchen table with tea. I'm keeping the house, I said. But I'm making some changes. What kind of changes? Your father's office. I'm turning it into something new. I don't know what yet. Maybe a library. Maybe a craft room. Maybe something else entirely. But I'm not going to keep it as a shrine. Mom, you don't have to. I want to. Your father spent 25 years documenting our life so I could remember, but he also spent 25 years living fully despite knowing his time was limited. I think his final gift to me was showing me how to do that. How to honor the past while still living in the present. Daniel smiled. He'd like that. There's something else. The storage unit. I'm going to keep it. But I want to share some of it. With you, with your future wife, if you ever stop being so picky. With grandchildren, if I'm lucky enough to have them someday. Your father documented our story. I think it should be shared. Really? Some of it. The parts that matter. The parts that teach something worth knowing. What do they teach? I thought about that. That love is a practice, not a feeling. That presence is a gift. That the ordinary moments are actually extraordinary if you're paying attention. That documentation is an act of love. That preparation for death doesn't mean giving up on life. That's a lot. It's everything. We sat in comfortable silence for a while. Then Daniel said, I found someone. I haven't told you yet because of everything. But there's someone. Tell me about her. Her name is Rachel. She's a teacher. She laughs at my jokes. She's kind. She's present. She reminds me of you, actually. Then I already love her. I want to do it right, Mom, like you and Dad did. I want to pay attention. I want to be there for the Tuesday mornings. Then you will be? That night, I went back to the storage unit one last time. I sat at Robert's desk, under his lamp, and I pulled out a fresh journal. I wrote, Dear Robert, I've read everything, all 25 years, every word, every photo, every moment you preserved for me. You were right. I needed time. I needed to remember. I needed to understand that you kept your diagnosis from me not out of deception but out of love. I forgive you for the secret. And I thank you for the gift. Because that's what this is. Not just a record of our past, but a blueprint for my future. You showed me how to live intentionally, how to pay attention, how to make every moment count. I'm going to keep living, Robert. Not because I'm over you, I'll never be over you. But because you taught me that living fully is the best way to honor love. I'm starting my own journal today. I'm going to document what comes next. Not because I'm dying, but because I'm alive. And being alive means paying attention. Daniel met someone. Her name is Rachel. I think you'd like her. I think she'll be good for him. I think he learned from us what real partnership looks like. That's your legacy, Robert. Not just the journals, not just the memories, but the lesson, the example, the proof that love is a verb. Thank you for 38 years. Thank you for every Tuesday morning. Thank you for the burned garlic bread and the movie tickets and the careful documentation of a life fully lived. I miss you. I'll always miss you. But I'm not lost. You left me a map. All my love, past, present, and future. Margaret. I closed the journal. I put it on the shelf next to Robert's 25. I turned off the lamp, locked the door, and drove home. In the rearview mirror, I could see the storage facility getting smaller, but it wasn't disappearing. It was just becoming part of the landscape of my life. A place I could return to when I needed to remember, but not a place I needed to live. Because Robert was right. Love is not about living in the past. It's about carrying the past with you as you step into whatever comes next. I got home. I made dinner. I burned the garlic bread. And I smiled. Because somewhere, I knew Robert was smiling too. Life goes on. Not because the grief ends, but because love continues, in different forms, in different ways, but always, always present tense. I'm 63 years old. My husband died 5 months ago, and I'm going to live, fully, intentionally, the way he taught me, starting with this moment, this Tuesday morning, this perfectly ordinary, extraordinarily precious moment